Hey everyone, welcome back to Morning Mug. And today I want to talk about scheduling and how that makes life easier. And there's really two things that I want to talk about with this. And the first thing is knowing your routine. This might be easy to some people because obviously, if you're working, you know your hours and everything like that. You know that if that's something, you know that is something really important to you. You should never put anything else beyond that top priority, period. Unless it's a legit emergency, and I'm talking about life and death, not something that a person asked you a favor for, or, like something like that, like nothing like that. I'm talking about literal life and death. Like, that's really the only reason why people should ever leave work early or something like that, or someone got into a altercation, an accident, like something that is on the severe level of concern. If it's not on the severe level of concern, that should not be taken into consideration. And you can't just arbitrarily say anything fits in the level of severity, because if it's not something that's actually putting another person's life in danger or harm, something where there's no other way but for you to be there, then it's like, okay. But it has to be that level of severity. It can't be really just because, and realizing that means the second thing I'm going to get into, which is learning to say no to plans that conflict with your schedule. But before I get into that, I just want to say that once you know your routine, your tier list of things. I don't know if anybody knows this, but I'll put this quickly on the screen. You have your S tier, your A tier, B, C, D, and F. So your S's and your A's are things that you should never ever put anything else that's on the lower level on top of that. This means not hanging out with friends, not like going somewhere fun, doing something fun, obviously playing video games, movies. It doesn't mean you can't do these things, but it's way better. Like, this makes life a lot easier if you get the things you need to get done first. Your school, your homework, your job, getting those things first and then having fun. Like, that makes having fun really fun. Just think about that for a second. When you get the stuff that you need to get done and you reward yourself with fun, it's actually more fun because you got what you needed to get done. You have nobody nagging at you. You have nobody complaining to you. And even if someone does, as long as you got your most important things done, that's not going to be as stressful as like, hey, like, when are you going to do your homework? Or have you done your homework? Have you I don't know, considered overtime or something like that? I don't know. Every situation is different in that sort of sense, but it's less annoying to know that you got your stuff done. Nobody could really complain at you as long as you're doing what you need to do and not putting things like hanging out with friends on top of, like, doing your most important things for the day. And I know I sound like a parent saying these things, but honestly, I wouldn't be saying these things if it wasn't true, because I'm 26 and I know enough to know that if you try doing the things that are most important within a day first, it makes doing anything that's fun way funner, like just way more fun, because you get that dopamine release and you are also like delaying gratification, which is a great thing to do, because if you play video games first thing in the morning, watch movies first thing in the morning, anything like that, and then the time is up, whatever you do after that, I promise you it's gonna feel 10 times harder to do because you're disinterested. If you really like video games, if you really like movies, whatever it is that isn't adding something directly into your life, like income or a skill set, like that's going to be something that really affects you and your ability to have the energy to get through your day with higher productivity. When you set the tone of higher productivity from the morning, setting your bed, cleaning your room, going to work, going to school, doing your chores, taking care of your pets, when you do all of those things first in that sort of order, and your routine, it helps a lot. It helps a lot. And then, the D's and F's, hanging out, having fun, when you got your things done, nobody can really complain, like I said. So it's just important knowing your routine and scheduling with people, like, hey, like, let's hang out at this time on this day. This works for me. Does this work for you? And having that conversation. Like, I know that being young, obviously I'm still young, but being young, like, you do things without really thinking too much about scheduling, Google Calendar, like none of that. But as you get older, you will realize that you have to respect your time more, because no one's gonna do that for you, especially if you're single, and people just want you to hang out or help them with certain things. Like, yeah, I mean, depending on the person, there's some people who you may feel like you don't want to let down or make them feel bad, but you got to take those things out of the equation and just realize that if your time is being negatively affected by even helping somebody, you got to consider postponing things, rearranging the schedule, like making an actual schedule, because then you're going to be affected, and it's going to be like helping somebody by shooting yourself in the foot. And just imagine having your foot shot and you're trying to help somebody and you're not really being all that helpful because your foot is literally shot, and they're gonna feel bad, you're gonna feel bad. So it's a bad situation all in all. There's no win in that, really. And even if it was a lose-win situation, the lose is still gonna hit you. Maybe not even the other person, but it's still gonna affect you. So it's just a thing to think about, like, you don't want to put yourself in situations where it could be avoided if scheduling needed to be done. And even if you're a person of your word and you don't like making people upset by shifting things around, it's like, if you're gonna be negatively affected and it's gonna be you who pays the ultimate price just for hanging out, just for helping, you're not really helping yourself. You're truly not helping yourself. You're betraying yourself, because instead of doing what you need to do for yourself to be successful, you're handing it over to other people who would never do the same for you, or, take care of your top priorities. Again, your friend is never going to be the owner of your dog. Your friend is never going to be the person going to your job, doing your work for you just to get income. You have to do all those things yourself. So you got to realize, how important is this really compared to my S and A tiers? And if it isn't, I got to put that down and realize that those things can wait until the end of my shift, until a day off. And if this person gets set, oh well, because I'm not going to sacrifice something that's going good for me just for someone to be a little bit more happy. Like, happiness is short term. Just remember that. You will feel happy in a moment and then it goes away, it dissipates. But fulfillment, the feeling of feeling whole, that extends throughout your entire life by years of hard work and dedication to something that you truly care about. So it's important to know your routine and also say no to people. This may be very hard. This may be very difficult, but you know what? when you learn to say no and you stop caring what other people think about making people feel bad, it's like, you know what? I don't think that losing my job is worth hanging out with friends, doing favors for other people, this or that. Like, you have to know that learning to say no is so important, because it can be the difference between keeping a job, losing a job. And it can also be a difference of doing well in school or failing in school, academic probation or dropping out, or graduating and succeeding and having more skills to offer to a company, an internship. There's a big difference, and this can all be affected by whatever it is that you put on your top priorities and sticking to them. Because even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's not as fun as hanging out with friends, it's gonna be really fun having that degree in your hand. It's gonna be really fun having that promotion, and that's gonna mean a lot more for a longer time than hanging out with people you're probably not gonna be hanging out with in 10 years from now. And sometimes you gotta think about that. Do I really feel like this person that I'm hanging out with really represents the best version of me, the person who has the potential to do something big and is unafraid to follow through that? Because sometimes we're just gonna have friends and they'll encourage us, but as soon as they see us winning, they're gonna feel jealous, they're gonna feel envious, they're gonna talk down to us. And nah, like, that's not cool. That's not something we need. We need people who are either with the program or like keep it stepping, because people, they will make you feel bad one way or the other, whether it's manipulation, emotional manipulation, or just saying things that they shouldn't be saying to you, insults, however it is. And it can be more obvious sometimes than others, but you will know the intention is there if you feel that guilt. And you should never feel guilty for trying to do things that are important to you and that are keeping you at your highest level in life. And if that's important to you, then losing friends is part of the process, and putting boundaries is part of the process. That's why I say scheduling makes your life easier, because in one sentence, that just means that when you schedule things with people, no matter who it is, you know that your routine from your S to A list are not being compromised. You're not compromising the most important things in your life for other people when you know what your top priority is. So that's all I got for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy this content, and please leave a like and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.